Hello, thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Nikki
Mhm.
Maduro. She is Kim McAllister. We have our cocktails for cocktails and news. And what a week it has been, as I say every week. So thank you for joining us on this Thursday. 5 o'clock Pacific time live. And thank you to all of you who join us every single week at this time. As always, we are 100% crowdfunded and we love to be here every single week. So if you can't support us, please do. The best way to support us is found in the show notes. PayPal, Patreon, and the super chat and super stickers are always available and up and running, even if we are not live when the show airs. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about this week. As always, we will be touching on some more debates. I think that there has been back-to-back debates, like every single week, it seems like, for California governor. There was a CNN debate. There was also a Telemundo debate in addition to an LA mayor's debate, because there was a poll that was done. I think this was an AP. Let me make sure it was an AP. There was a poll by NPR PBS that found that people are fired up. They conducted it to vote in this next election in the midterms. It was conducted between April 27th and April 30th by phone, text, and online. And they found that people are just dying to vote. Now, here were some of the results. Trump's approval rating underwater with all groups except Republicans, of course. 81% of Republicans approve of the job he's doing as president. I have no idea why. 18% disapprove. 1% are unsure because they just don't know what's going on in the world. For all adults, 37% approve, but 59% of all American adults disapprove of the job that Donald Trump is doing. Among Democrats, 92% disapprove of the job that Donald Trump is doing. But yeah, it's people are just really excited to get in there and cast their ballot. Have you gotten your ballot and have you opened it up?
I do not have a ballot. I have a sample ballot, but I don't have the real ballot yet.
I got my ballot. I have not opened it yet, but if you want a good laugh, open it up and look at all the people listed for governor of California.
I love it. There's a guy that's named Barack Obama Shaw. Did you see that?
There's so many people. I don't think I've ever seen so many names for one office in my entire life.
There's a guy, and I wish I had my pamphlet with me. There's a guy who has the name Truth and Justice for God or something.
Oh, it's a
God
joke.
for Truth and whatever. There's just like, it's a full-on page of all these randoms. Who are these people?
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. There's just so many people running in the California governor's race, which explains why they're having so many debates. I did watch the CNN debate. Again, I don't know why I do this to myself. I don't really feel like I'm getting any sort of new answers, although I am liking, and you guys know I'm a full disclosure for those that don't watch the show all the time, I'm a Katie Porter supporter and I'm voting for Katie Porter. I'm not, unless her hair catches on fire and she's responsible for the death of children, she's got my vote, right? Like,
but what if she's at the bottom of the polls and we know we need to rally behind the top vote getter or the person that's at the top?
So if it's like Hilton, Bianco, and like Steyer, and then Katie Porter's like all the way at the bottom or something.
Yeah, like what if it's the top four are Hilton, Bianco, or the way it is right now is Hilton, Steyer, Bianco, and Becerra, or Becerra, I think is even above Steyer. So what if it's a case between you've got to vote for Steyer or Becerra because those are the ones that landed at the top of the polling? What are you going to do? I think we have to unite because we can't can you imagine if Hilton was the governor of California? Outrageous.
Oh, God, no. Every time he opens his mouth. Okay, so this is what I took from the CNN debate with Hilton and Bianco. Bianco seems really angry and he doesn't really have a unique answer. It seems like he just takes what Hilton says and goes, what he said. Like and maybe it's because he's always after him answering most of the time, but I just I don't like his demeanor. I don't really feel like there's any substance to his answers. I don't like Hilton. One, because I don't like his ideas. I also don't think that they're based in any sort of real concrete.
You muted yourself, but I will say this while you're
concrete. Sorry, I hit my wire. Mm-hmm. It's not based on any concrete plan. He likes to say all these things like, I'm going to deal with homelessness and I have this plan and this plan and this plan. And I feel like there's an underestimating of how difficult things are to do in California. I feel like Republicans, again, love to point at the problem, but never have an idea of how to actually fix it. You know what I mean? And once they get into it, they're going to realize how difficult it is to do. And you can't just cut everything and leave all of these safety nets and everything out in the cold. And and that's what I feel like the Republicans just keep saying. Like, we're just going to do all of this. We're going to get rid of the homeless. We're going to, and the plan that you're putting forth is not feasible. So that's my problem with Hilton and Bianco. I just don't think has a plan.
I believe Hilton was asked if President Biden won the election in 2020 and he didn't give a forthcoming answer. That tells me all I need to know. He's one of those guys, right? Yeah. Somebody said he's an oath keeper. I don't know if that's the case. I've heard that Sue Ann says Bianco is an oath keeper. Possibly. I don't think he's answered. Here's a little bit though of I think this was the Telemundo debate.
Yes, this is the Telemundo debate. Yes,
this is the one where they it's really fast. It's like 60 seconds for each candidate and then a 30-second rebuttal, and it's whip fast.
Live here. Everybody has said we need more housing. We need to build more housing, but I'd like some specifics. Mr. Hilton, we'll start with you. In our conversation, you said we need more subdivisions and to link them by freeways. Do I have that right?
Yes, the California dream was built on that idea of owning your own home. And right now we have the highest housing costs in the country and the lowest home ownership. Young people saying to me all the time, I can't imagine making my life in California because I'll never be able to own my own home. We've got to change direction on housing. Yes, we've got to simplify the regulations that make it so expensive, 2 or 3 times more expensive to build housing compared to other states. Yes, we have to stop the hidden taxes on house building. But the big change we need to make, which the Democrats on this stage aren't prepared to make, is to end this ideology which says the only acceptable form of housing is to shove apartment buildings into suburban neighborhoods. We've stopped building the kind of starter homes and single family homes we used to build so well in California that made the California dream a reality. And that is what I will get back to as governor, to restore that California dream of home ownership.
Thank you, Mr. Steyer.
So the biggest problem in California is Californians can't afford to live here anymore. And the number one part of that is housing. And in order to solve our housing problems, there are a bunch of things we have to do. So we have to shorten permitting times and make them less expensive. For sure, everyone on this stage will say that. I believe in zoning densely near public transportation. And I believe that the way to drive down costs per square foot by at least a third is by constructing offsite and then putting together onsite. But there's some other things I'll do that no one else on this stage will say. I'm going to close a corporate real estate tax loophole for $22 billion a year that's going to go to the cities and counties. And that's going to make them willing to permit housing and to make it happen. They're standing in the way because housing is an unfunded liability for them. I'm going to fund it. And lastly, our community bank, nonprofit community bank, has financed 17,000 low-income housing units. The state of California needs to use finance.
Thank you, Mr. Steyer.
Finance low-income units and
That's
also
it.
We're
moving on.
Assistance.
Thank you.
Well, I will say this, if you want to pause it just for a second.
Yes, we certainly.
This was this one is okay. I didn't watch the Telemundo governor's debate, but before this one was the LA mayor's debate, which we'll touch on a little bit. I thought the moderators were terrible in the LA mayor's debate. Like, they lost control of it, and it was only 3 people, and they just could not get a hold of it at all. And I don't know if it was just the format of the question or the candidates themselves kind of jumping over each other, a la the CBS governor's debate, but it was just very poorly moderated. But maybe, I don't know, when they had the governor's debate, there was just a little bit more, they'd done this before, so there was a little more civility involved. And the mayor's debate was the only one they'd done so far. But yeah, the whole housing question though, Kim, let's get back to that. because you'll hear this also in the LA mayor's debate if you watched that. This idea of where to build housing, Republicans love to say this because they know Californians are listening, especially conservatives. I don't want you changing the makeup of my neighborhood. I do not want you building in my neighborhood. So they're going to say this: we're not going to build where you don't want housing. We're going to build where there is no housing. Guess where there also is nothing? There's no jobs out here. So what are you also telling Californians? That they're going to have to commute. And guess what also isn't out there? Probably the infrastructure or the highways. There might be some roads, probably maybe two-lane roads. So now there's going to be congestion out there. You are giving people a lower quality of life in exchange for some sort of housing. You're telling them that you're going to build for them, but they're going to have to wait 30 years to have this lifestyle. They're going to be retired by that point. That's the thing. People want to live in those neighborhoods you're telling them you're not going to build in. That's the problem. You need to convince people to move out of the single family homes they are currently in by making it cheaper to buy other homes. Like, my parents never want to leave their home, but why would they sell their home when they know they have to pay, I don't know, a huge amount in capital gains, and then they can't downsize because the house that they would downsize in is so astronomically expensive anyway. They can't stay in the same neighborhood. You have to fix that problem. They don't want to live in bumfuck nowhere. You know what I mean? They don't want to do that. They want to stay in their community. Make that community cheaper, then you've solved the problem. But building in the middle of nowhere with no real infrastructure and no jobs to support it is not an answer.
I agree. I don't know how you make the communities cheaper, though, because it seems like every time there is an affordable housing mandate, you have to set aside a certain number of units for affordable housing. That doesn't last very long, right? There might be one or two, and then those people are selling them for top dollar. So what really is affordable housing? And is that realistic in areas where, people want $800,000 to $1 million for homes? I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, and Sausalito Vicky makes a good point. She's like, Nikki, people don't get to live wherever they want. No, they don't. But what I'm saying is the turnover of homes. So again, I'm going to use my parents as an example, even though they love their home, they don't want to leave there. But let's say there's a retired couple that does not need a 5-bedroom home anymore, but they love the community they've built. They like the church that they go to. They would love to maybe move into that smaller starter home where the family that started in that starter home would love to swap, right? They want to move up into that 5-bedroom home that my parents no longer need, right? That exchange needs to be economical for both, right? But it's not right now because even the starter home isn't affordable. There's no way of making that transaction happen. If my parents want to leave, they will have to leave the community they've lived in for decades. That doesn't make sense. So what happens is everyone stays put. And so then families that want to live here can't afford to live here. They can't even find a starter home. Nobody's moving because they can't afford to. And I don't know how you fix that problem. I really don't. Without building more. You have to build different types of housing, which I do agree with Steyer on. Build high density housing, but it's going to happen in the neighborhoods that people don't want it to happen in. And that's unfortunate. Get it out of your head. Your neighborhood's going to change. It's going to happen. It just has to happen.
People are fighting against that, though. The idea of, having apartments in neighborhoods and whatever. I just don't know. I mean, I live in Petaluma, which is about 45 minutes north of San Francisco, and it mostly consists of single family homes. There are some areas of apartments, but I think it's wrong when Hilton says people don't want apartments. I think if you actually look at what people can afford right now, a young person, they can't afford a single family home. So the affordable housing then does have to come in the form of a townhome or some type of a smaller unit. That's how you start, right? That's what you can afford. If I had to buy a house right now, that's probably where I would look. I could not afford to buy this house that I currently live in. And so I think if you're being realistic, you can't be putting 3-4 bedroom single family homes and expecting people in their 20s to say, sure, I'll buy that.
Right.
Mm-mm.
And why not build apartments or communities in a way in 2026, 2027 that invites community? I think that's what people want out of the whole American dream. It's the white picket fence, it's waving to your neighbor. Okay, so you can't give them that. What can you give them?
Right.
You can give them an apartment complex with, maybe a community area. Like that's what people are actually wanting, right? They want that neighborhood feel. So make it feel like that. And that's going to take design. That's going to take getting rid of permit, like making the process easier so that these builders want to do that. It's going to take thinking outside the box. I will say this. If there was ever a person that I think maybe could do that is Sire. You know what I mean? But is it enough to change my vote away from Porter? I don't know.
I skipped over what's his face, Bianco, because we're not voting for him anyway.
Okay.
Okay,
So what is Becerra saying?
Sure, Conan. We have to make sure we understand how many homes we need. And you can't understand how many homes you need unless you know how many people are coming to California. I remember when my parents told me the story when they got here, they had $12 in their pocket, yet they got to live that California dream. They purchased a home. They were able to give my 3 sisters and I far more than they ever had. And that's what we have to get back to, is giving every family that opportunity. I will make sure that down payment assistance programs are expanded under my watch, because today California families are essentially buying a house. They're just buying it for the landlord, because in their rental payments, they're essentially paying the mortgage. How about we do this? How about we help you get that last cog in the process of buying a house, the down payment? Then when you pay a monthly payment, it's not for rent, it's to own the home. How about we make sure Wall Street isn't the person you're bidding against when you're trying to buy that house? That is unfair when Wall Street can outbid you. Third, how about we streamline regs, make CEQA work, because CEQA was meant to help protect communities, not to stop housing.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Congresswoman Porter.
Yeah, housing is personal to me. It's personal to me because I've spent a large part of my career working on helping families who couldn't afford housing, who were the victims of predatory lenders or were facing eviction. It's also personal to me because I'm raising 3 teenagers here, one of whom I think there's a pretty good chance he's going to wind up living on my couch if we don't figure out how to build more affordable housing. It's not enough to just build housing for those who are here. We have to build enough housing for California to grow our economy. And it's not enough to just build more. We have to build it less expensively than we are now. Building faster is building cheaper. If we build faster, we can take 10 or 20% off the cost of rent and mortgages. That is a lot of money back in the pockets of California. We also need to innovate into construction technique, architectural design, manufacturing, and housing finance. When I'm governor, Californians will have a 5% down payment on their houses, not 20.
Thank you. Mr. Mahan.
How are you going to do that?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a lot of big dreams.
Don't you feel bad for the kid that's going to be sleeping on her couch? He's probably watching that going, Mom, really? Did you have to?
Well, I mean, did you see the ad that she posted?
No,
have you seen?
No.
Oh, while we're doing this, so this is the ad that's getting a lot of heat, and it's brought a lot of heat to Katie Porter, mainly for the last scene of it, but her kids in the couch make a cameo as well. So it's interesting. It's making the rounds, and it was actually brought up in one of the debates. So hold on, here we go.
I'm Katie Porter, and I'm not like most people who run for governor. I actually get what you're going through. A single mom of 3 kids, I know what it's like to push the shopping cart. My minivan has almost 200,000 miles. I have a grown kid who may soon be living on my couch. To give Californians what they need, it's going to take standing up to Donald Trump, calling out greedy corporations, and stepping on some toes along the way. Now, could you guys please get out of my shot? And Katie.
So that last line obviously is a hark back to that when she yelled at her staff members, and this time she said, please get out of my shot. Now, during the debate on CNN, she was called out for that, and she's been called out on social media. They're like, oh, you're making fun of abusing a staffer. And she addressed it. She's like, no, I'm owning it. I'm obviously saying I took ownership of it. I apologize. The staffers worked for me for several years after that. Like that was her kind of owning up for it. And then she was calling out the men for being, because at the time they were like yelling at each other and using bad language and calling names and blah, blah, blah. And she, you could tell she was really trying to keep her temperament even on the CNN debate. Now, obviously it's gone up and down. I liked the ad. I didn't think it was bad. I think it's true. I think a lot of parents feel, oh my God, my kid's never going to get off my couch. Oh my God, I got a car that has 150, 200,000 miles on it. Right.
I love how she picks one of the kids. Like I've got a son who's not like that whole family knows which kid she's talking about.
Well, and it's true. I mean, who doesn't have a kid that maybe one of them's like going somewhere and the other one's like, I don't know what I'm doing with this kid. But at the same time, I liked it. So I got into a bit of an X spat during the debate, and it just harkened back to the days of doing KGO. And I shouldn't have done it, Kim. I shouldn't have. But I want to read you, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not often, but maybe I read it wrong. So I'm going to tell you. I'm going to read it to you, and then you're going to tell me if I read this wrong. Okay. So let me see if I could share with you here. This is what the post was on X that I saw, and it was about Katie Porter. Okay. So let me see. Okay. So I'm going to read, this was the video that was posted. Can I be loud? Yeah.
By the way, can I say that I like that Katie Porter made fun of it? Being able to make fun of yourself, poke fun at yourself, I think is a sign of a good character. Exactly.
Okay. So this is the video that goes with, so she's listening to other guys. She's looking back and forth. Okay. This is all that's the video that's posted. So I just want you to keep in mind, just look at what she's doing. This is how she looks. Okay. During the CNN debate. Okay. That's it. Okay. This is what this gentleman wrote on this post. It said, Katie Porter's body language during the California governor debate is getting attention. The blazer projects executive, in quotes. The facial expressions show frustration. There are constant side glances, tight expressions, and visible irritation. Is this hurting her or the wrong thing to focus on? What are your thoughts? I said, that's a sexist question. That's my thought. Because one, there was no other dissection of any other candidate in any of his questions at all. Okay. But two, one, this is what, and then he said, why? And I gave it, these were the reasons I gave. One, she was not side-eyeing. Side-eyeing is like literal side-eyeing. She was looking. They were talking. She was looking. It wasn't irritation. You're in a debate. You're not agreeing. Like, yes, I don't like your answer. If I liked your answer, I probably would be voting for you, and I'm not, right? Like, and again, this whole idea of the fact that women have to watch their face. Yeah. Like, was there any...
Watch her laugh.
Exactly.
Watch the way you're standing.
Watch how her mouth is.
Watch the way your hair looks. Watch everything about yourself. Are your heels too high? Are they too short?
And so that's what I said.
Too much, or you're smiling not enough?
So I said, I'm like, it's sexist. I gave all of these reasons why. And I'm telling you, Kim, the hilarious point of all of this is, one, he tried to come back. He's like, do you not know about Katie Porter and her background and it's kryptonite? And I'm like, I'm from California. I'm well aware, blah, blah, blah.
Girl,
and then
let me tell you how much I know.
And then the guy had the audacity of, I've got, not black friends, but I have older sisters. I've worked with women. I've worked on this female thing. And I'm like, you don't have to give me your resume for me to feel that your post was sexist. Like, you asked me my thought. I thought it was sexist. You may not agree with me, but that's what I thought. Like, and don't ask on social media people's thoughts and then get offended by it. Welcome to the world of social media. But I did think it was sexist. And everyone's like, and then of course, you know, X does what X does. And they're like, oh, you pulled the sexist card for everything. And I'm like, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. But again, no other questions about any of the other candidates. She's literally the only female candidate. And all you're focusing on are her physical attributes and not what she's saying. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I find it sexist. And women candidates, especially going for a high political power position, are held to a standard that no man ever has to match. Ever. Not even close.
What I want to know is who was speaking when they were honing the camera in on Katie Porter. What were they saying? Was it Hilton saying some ridiculous thing? Of course I would be annoyed too.
Exactly. It doesn't, but honestly, it doesn't matter. She's not going to agree with them. It is a debate. Like, I would be annoyed too if I'm listening to a terrible idea because I have a better one, right? Like, is she supposed to sit there with a friggin' smile on her face because you might read it wrong? Like,
but that man who wrote that is so, I don't know if ingrained is the right word, that he'll never understand what he's pointing out, what he's doing.
He's down on it. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
He's incapable of opening his mind up to the fact that he actually did something sexist there, that he's in the wrong. He can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I also said that to him, like, sexism is so ingrained, you don't even realize you're doubling down on it. Like, and I wasn't trying to be mean, but I was just trying to point out, like, what you're choosing to focus on is not the right thing to focus on. And it's such an easy branch to reach for in situations like this. What is she wearing? How is she looking? Really? This is a tired trope that has kept us away from fabulous female leaders. And I'm tired of it. I'm so freaking tired of it. But whatever. What do I know? I'm just a woman.
Deidre says something that's really concerning to me. By the way, I agree with everything you just said, and you go fight your ex battles and you win.
Thank you.
Deidre says, Deidre, I love you, but Lord, why? We have to resign ourselves to either a Hilton or Bianco as governor.
Why?
Becerra's kind of tied with Hilton. Bianco's in third place. Steyer's in fourth right now.
What are you looking at?
The most recent polling, I think, has Hilton at 18%. Becerra was at 12%, something like that. And then comes Steyer and Bianco. And that was the most recent poll that I saw. But I don't think I disagree with your first sentence as what it is, that we have to resign ourselves to either a Hilton or Bianco. Because if you look at all of the numbers, if you look at the polling numbers, and then you look at how many people are voting for Democratic candidates, what needs to happen is that we need to unite around one and put all that number behind one person.
That's all we have to do. That's what's going to happen. Someone's going to have to put the bat up in the sky right before the election. Right. And what I think a lot of people are doing is not voting right now. Like, everyone's waiting until the last minute, which is not what we normally do, right? I don't think anybody is early voting right now, which is unlike most votes, right? Normally we're like, because it's easy. But if I wanted to put money on it, and even though I'm a Porter person, it's probably going to be Steyer and somebody else. It just probably is. I would love for it to be Steyer and Porter. I would love that battle. Absolutely love that battle.
Becerra seems to be the darling right now.
Okay. Maybe it's Becerra. Maybe it's Becerra and Steyer. I'm always going to throw Porter in there because she's my candidate. So
yeah.
Maybe it's going to be Steyer, but I think Steyer is going to be leading the Dem pack, in my opinion. I think in the advertising type race, and the reason why I say this is not because I don't think Becerra is a good candidate, and I'm not knocking him in any way, shape, or form. But I think for those voters that aren't paying attention but are still going to vote, Steyer's winning the ad race. Does that make sense? And so for those that are like, I don't know who to vote for, but they've seen the ad nauseum ads that are on TV.
He's got the money to put it all out there.
Exactly.
Right?
He's going to get those votes. Does that make sense? So, and that gives you the edge. It just does. There's lazy voters out there.
There's a discussion in the chat about how we need to get rid of ranked choice voting.
Well, it never was such a risk before. I don't even understand why it's a risk. The only reason it's really, really a risk right now is there's so many Democrats in the race. Yeah. That's why it's such a risk.
Yeah.
We can't get it together. Like, we did not coalesce behind one or two candidates. There's just so many that we're splitting the vote. It's a terrible game of Survivor right now. Exactly. I mean, look at us. We don't even know. No. We as a show can't even decide who we want to support.
Right.
I mean, I do, but
Amy
you know what I
says
mean?
Indivisible is telling people wait to vote.
Everybody's waiting. Everybody's like, who are we going to do? But what I love about that is I think we are united in the fact that we don't want a Republican. Does that make sense? So we're like, but again, to take my survivor analogy even further, are we playing a game of telephone that everybody messes it up at the end? And we're like, I thought you told me we were voting for this person, and we all put our votes on the wrong person, you know? So
like tribal council and Survivor, where you're running
like,
back and forth and talking to each
who
other.
had the idol, right? Like, no. So we got to get it together. We got to get it together at the right time. So
Sal the Shoemaker says Poly Market has Becerra at 48%, Steyer at 37%. Pay attention to Poly Market as we get closer. They've got a 90% accuracy rate within 30 days.
So did Nate Silver, and Hillary Clinton lost. So you know what? I ain't liking any of those. So
I don't know.
I don't know.
They're talking money bets, so maybe they're more accurate. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I will vote with the masses. I will. If it's looking like it's going to be like a Hilton Bianco and you need my vote, of course.
Yeah.
I'm not going to,
Amy's apologizing, but it's not going to be Katie this time. That's what
I know.
She says. Yeah.
I know it's a long shot, but when isn't it with women, right? I mean, I think Katie would be an awesome governor. I really do. And I'm not just saying that because she's a woman. I'm not playing that card. I always was a Katie Porter supporter. Always. I just think she'd be good. I just do. I think that she would. But again, who would I be disappointed? Not disappointed, but be like, oh, I don't know if they do a good job. I think it's just those that don't have as much experience, right? Like I like Matt Mahan as a mayor. Do I feel like he has enough experience to be governor? No, I do not. I'd be fine with Becerra. Steyer, I don't think has enough experience, but I do think he has enough sway. So
Steyer is a question mark to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm like,
I don't know about that guy. He might come in and be dynamic and have all these ideas and, have all these moneyed connections to make things happen, what have you. But I feel like Becerra, especially now since he's rising in the polls, is that safe choice. Do I think he's going to come in and shake things up? Do I think he's a dynamic speaker like Newsom? Do I think, he's going to take on Trump? No. I think he's a solid Democrat who will make choices that.
But then is it status quo? And we don't need status quo. We need somebody that's going to make big changes because California has major problems. I mean, our schools are losing a ton of funding or losing a ton of funding this year. Gavin Newsom is leaving us with some major problems we need to address. Really address. Yep. So is Becerra the person to do it? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Not like Cindy says, not like how Becerra not to give direct answers to debate questions, especially on single payer. Very good point. Becerra does circle the wagon on some questions. He does. I do like Steyer's answers on certain things. He does seem, with the housing, I really like. I do like the fact of the single payer. I like the fact that I do like Steyer's answer about the billionaires tax, where he's going to vote for it, but he knows that that's not the answer, and he likes the progressive tax, which is what Katie Porter supports, right? Katie Porter, by the way, and you guys know that I think you should tax billionaires a million times over. She does not support the billionaire tax at all. She's a big fat no on it. So just to let you guys know, I'm still a Katie Porter supporter, and she doesn't like it. But
I have a hard time just with this comment. Vote your own truth, because
it is a primary, and that's what you are supposed to do.
In theory, that's great, right? We should all vote pick the candidate that most closely aligns with our values, and vote the one that we think would represent us the best. But in reality, that's not the case. It's the same reason why a vote for Ross Perot was a throwaway vote, or a vote for that third party candidate, whoever they may be, is a throwaway vote, because they're not going to win and you're wasting your vote. So sometimes when you say vote your own truth, like, I like it in theory, but in reality, it doesn't help get the people in that would do what you want them to do. Like, I think that's why we ended up with a Trump.
Well, I will say this. I believe that in the general.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in the primary, usually, and this is a unique situation given the fact that we have the possibility of having 2 Republican candidates. But in the primary, I really do believe in the vote your own truth, because I hate when people don't vote in the primary and then bitch who's in the general. It's like, well, did you vote for the candidates that you wanted to see in the general? I bet you didn't, right? Like, this is the point where you choose who you want to see in the general. Usually we don't have this big risk of having some asshat with a mustache and some British dude who doesn't even know what to do. I don't know. Like, so yeah, I feel like in the primary, I would urge more people to vote their own truth, but I get what you're saying. You also have to think of the consequences of that vote. Absolutely. And in this particular election, yeah, I understand. And that brings me to the LA mayor's debate. Can we transition a little bit and add that in? Now, are you guys following this at all? Because
no, I haven't been.
So if you are unaware, Karen Bass, current mayor, is up against a councilwoman, Raman, and reality TV star Spencer Pratt. And surprise, surprise, Spencer Pratt, who, I don't know if you guys watch The Hills. I'm a reality TV junkie, so I know exactly who Spencer Pratt is. Okay, like I am well aware of who this dude is. I've watched many hours of him on TV. Okay. He was like a TV villain, okay? And he's running for mayor, and he's extremely popular with people in LA right now, and he's running as a Republican, and his house burned down in the Palisades fire, and people are making ads for him. This is an ad that he claims, that he did not make. Okay. He says he's not behind this ad, but, did I just shut it down? Hold on. He says that he's not behind this ad, but that other people made this ad. And hold on, I want to find it because it's so bad. And I really feel like, hold on, Pratt ad. Because it has Karen Bass and it has Gavin Newsom and it has Kamala Harris in it, and it is pretty bad. But people are saying that because Spencer Pratt is that outsider, they're worried that it's going to be another sort of Donald Trump, and he has no political experience at all. Okay, so here it is. And there's a lot of cameos, so pay attention. So here is, and again, this is an AI ad, by the way.
Oh.
And apparently, some sort of fan of Spencer Pratt did this ad. So here we go.
Mom, look. Is this the future of politics?
No, I thought it was going to be.
But it's raising ethical questions about AI.
Gavin Newsom.
NBC News reached out to Pratt, Curran, and those pictured in the ad.
I'm going to find the actual ad. I apologize. Hold on. I'm trying to find the actual ad.
I was trying to figure out who this guy is.
A dystopian scene playing out in this viral.
I thought I had the ad. If anyone has the actual link to the ad.
Teacher says if LA votes for Pratt, they'll get what they deserve.
Please, I'm begging you. There's homeless drug addicts in front of the schools. My children aren't safe.
Look, if you were a transgender migrant, I could get you a free pussy.
Let's move the drug addicts closer.
Bass already solved crime. I endorse her.
Next!
Please, I just want to rebuild my home. It's been over a year.
Mom, look.
This is a machine. If we want to burn this town to the ground,
Feel so much that they are making these ads. And so basically that's it. LA's worth saving. And he's really, really upset that his house burned down. And I get it that he's been personally impacted. And I was actually pretty surprised by his performance in the debate last night. Now, did I say, I'm not going as far as saying that he won the debate or anything like that, but I will say that for somebody that's on the national stage, I will say national because people are interested in it. Definitely the state of California is watching it. I thought he did decently. But he also has nothing to lose. Does that make sense? Like, if he doesn't get the governorship, what is he really going to lose? So here he is talking about homelessness. Here we go.
How many beds you give these people, they are on super meth. They are on fentanyl. The DEA statistic says 93% of this is a drug addiction problem. Nithya, Councilwoman Raman's plan for treatment first. I will go below the Harbor Freeway tomorrow with her, and we can find some of these people she's going to offer treatment for. She's going to get stabbed in the neck. These people do not want a bed. They want fentanyl or super meth. These ideas cost us over $400 million to house for 70, what did you say? 3,000 people for $400 million. This is an absolute failure for both of them. They're a team.
Now, again, he's just saying things. He's not offering up any sort of solution, but he is saying things that people want to hear is what I'm saying. Well, you know what I mean?
The frustration we all feel.
Exactly. And that's going to resonate with voters.
Democrat or Republican, you look at the amount of money that California spends on the homeless crisis, then you see fraud, fraud, waste, abuse. But you see fraud in San Francisco. You see fraud in LA, the money not going where it's supposed to be going. The fact that it costs to house a homeless person in an RV at the camp out where Candlestick Park used to be, that it costs more than, almost as much as my mortgage. Like, what are we doing? You can rent an apartment for someone for that much. It doesn't make sense what's happening.
Yep.
So it's a frustration that's being expressed that I get. But we all could do that. We all could stand on stage and say those words.
You can always point at the problem.
What are you going to do? How, in a position of power and authority in Los Angeles, where you have a chance to make some headway, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Did he say anything about that?
Well, I mean, again, he's talking about, I know this person that's going to remove the regulations. I know I'm going to take away all of the ability to do drugs in safe spaces and things like that he hates the Democrats for doing, right? Like, I understand the criticism of Democratic ideas, safe injection sites. That's what I'm thinking of. Like, I understand the criticisms, but he also is ignoring what are we going to do with the people? He has no plan with that, because when you are looking at a mountain of addiction, right? What are you going to do? Are you going to just ship all of these people across state lines? You have to deal with the people in the day in, day out, night and day. And I don't think he realizes that. It's so easy to act like overnight you can do something about it. And you can't. You can't. You end up with Skid Row for a while. And then it kind of snowballs. Now, I'm not making excuses. I'm not saying that Karen Bass and all her predecessors had a marvelous plan and it's working out like gangbusters. Absolutely not. Skid Row has been going on for decades, and that's an abomination. It's an abject failure that should have never been able to continue. And it seriously is. That is absolutely ridiculous, right? Like, absolutely ridiculous. And I will give it to them that is wrong. But to act like there isn't like a system involved in that goes beyond politics is also bullshit. So I don't know.
I sure hope he doesn't win.
Oh, but I'm telling you, watch this race. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Now, although I think also that's kind of maybe Hollywood talk. I think Karen Bass is, honestly, I really do think Karen Bass is going to win again. I think I would hope I hope the adults in the room would be like, no, stop.
When you look at the missteps with the approach to the fire, right? The what was it? Trying to remember back, the lack of funding right before the fires, like all of the fact
that she was out of town and
all of these things. Like,
yes.
I think people in LA are frustrated with her.
Oh, they're angry. They're very angry. And the fact that there hasn't been rebuilding, people are still living in the trailers. She's It's been too slow. And the amount of money that they've raised, that's another one of his criticisms. He's like, they've raised so much money and it's not going to us. It's going to all these other organizations that are fraud, right? And so again, it's like, where's the accountability? That's another one of his criticisms. Valid. Yep. And let's go back to the governorship. That's what I love about Katie Porter. She finds the fraud, right? She's like, what are you talking about? You know,
have to be able to offer more than criticism. Really,
because it's easy to criticize. It is so easy to point it out. So I don't know, that I'm so interested in the LA race. It is going to be interesting. And again, Spencer Pratt has always been this guy, but his sister has even come out and said, do not vote for this guy. His own sister. He's a troll. He's this, he's that. So for all these people enamored with his, big voice and big talk, I hope he doesn't. I just like California, LA is huge. Are you kidding me right now?
It's also
LA is gigantic.
Some very conservative pockets in that area.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm very, disheartened because when I hear Republicans, MAGA people, whoever, when I hear them come forward and say, we have to stop the political violence and the rhetoric that's causing, attacks against the president and whatever else. And then they turn around and they celebrate an ad or a, AI generated fan ad like that. That's very contraindicative to what they've said. That really bothers me. I don't know how you can say one thing and then turn around and do another.
Welcome to politics, though. Welcome to politics. Okay, well, moving on from that to another sort of politics, which is Donald Trump. Can we just touch a little bit on the money aspect of Mr. Donald Trump and the ballroom? Can we just talk about the bullshit with the ballroom? The
$1 billion ballroom that wasn't supposed to cost us a penny?
So Republicans, of course, are bending the knee and want to add $1 billion for Trump's ballroom security. We talked about this after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The need now for the ballroom. This is another aspect of, again, where they tell you one thing. Why are we needing to pay for this? As now they're stopping, the building of all of this. And the questioning of it and the investigation of it. Why do we now need to have taxpayer dollars for it? I'm really frustrated that Congress is even going to consider this. Now, let's see. So after last week's bipartisan vote to end the shutdown, Republicans are moving ahead with about $70 billion in a party line plan to fund ICE and this Customs and Border Protection. Nearly all of the money is devoted to ICE, further insulating them. And then also the bill contains $1 billion for the Secret Service, and it's related to the ballroom project. Trump's gold-encrusted ballroom has gone from costing $200 million funded by shady donors to $1 billion from taxpayers snuck into an ICE bill by Senate Republicans. That is from Senator Elizabeth Warren, writing on X. And yet people will still vote for Donald Trump. People will still support his absolute bullshit. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. And it's rich people. He could pay for it himself. Wasn't that the point? Wasn't the point that he was going to pay for it himself? It was going to be beautiful. It was going to be what they need to have parties.
Imagine that. What a lasting legacy he could leave.
Exactly. Lindsey Graham can suck
dripping gold.
So
ballroom.
tacky.
It is truly the let them eat cake moment of America.
Somebody was also saying in the comments about the Met Gala.
Mm-hmm.
It's also that sort of thing. It's like, what as we're paying $7 in gas, you're going to do this right now?
Ridiculous.
It's gross.
It's the moment. I hope that the Democrats make an ad where Trump gets up and says, we can't afford daycare because we need to put our money toward war. Right. And then I want a cut of him talking about how we need the ballroom. And then I want a cut of people saying that their SNAP benefits have been taken away, that they were kicked off of healthcare, the poorest of Americans, no food assistance, no medical assistance. But apparently we have $1 billion for a ballroom.
Yeah, exactly.
It is exactly what Democrats said would happen if Trump was elected. He's going to help the rich. He's going to help the billionaires. He's their friend. He's not your friend. And so you've got all these MAGA people from these red states that are living in, no offense if you live in a trailer park, but they're living a life of, the lowest cost possible, right? And they're the ones that line up to vote for this guy and show up for his rallies and buy the red hats.
They're ridiculous.
Completely voting against themselves. Look what they're voting for. $1 billion ballroom.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. I wanted to play this. I've been trying to get somebody on to talk about the billionaires tax, just kind of talking about money and where it goes and just kind of like who's lining the pockets of people like Donald Trump and who's making money off things like the Iran war and the trades and what's happening behind the back, behind the scenes and why poor people keep defending rich people when you don't have to, right? Like there's more of us than there are of them, but people keep protecting them because I loved this because I wanted to play this video. And the video, one of the richest companies out there right now, their CEO was being interviewed about the billionaire tax. And I loved this part of his answer because he supports it. The California billionaire tax. He supports it. This is Jensen Huang who was talking about it. And he said, I support it. I'd love it if some of the money went to fix a pothole in my street. But I love this part of his answer. And this is some of what he said.
But I want, it's fine. I never once thought about it. And then another thing is, when we came out of school, we didn't say, okay, all right, states, show me all your taxes. And I looked at all of them and I go, that's the one. You won. We came to California because this was the state we chose.
Because?
I loved the school that was here. I came to school, Stanford here. I loved the companies that were here. We loved the culture that's here. And so we chose to come here. And it wasn't because, we traded off among states with lower taxes. But now I've got a lot of friends who pay so little taxes that I'm just kidding.
Can you name them all?
No. No, I love California, and I prefer lower taxes. But whatever they decide to ask me to pay, I'll pay.
And that's the reason I wanted to play that is I loved how he talked about culture. Like I looked at where I wanted to live, and that's where I decided I wanted to be. And if it costs this much money to pay for it, and I think that they say he had to pay like $8 billion or something like that. Yeah. He would have to pay $8 billion. And he says, I don't mind paying taxes. Like we need more of those type of people in the world that realize they have enough money and they could just pay it.
Right. I mean, it comes down to how much do you need?
Then the politicians that are looking at us like we have to pay for a ballroom that we don't actually need.
Thank you.
Like that's what I just don't understand. It is this disconnect between the haves and the have-nots that it just blows my mind. It really, really blows my mind. But then, we have a president that wants to put his face on everything. He doesn't give a shit. He just doesn't get, yeah. It's just to steal more money, basically. It's just to steal more money. Okay. We're still before 6:00 and we have to touch on another depressing story.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
What do you got?
You can hear it in my voice. I'm coming down with a bit of a cold.
Oh no.
And I'm having flashbacks. Is anybody else having flashbacks?
COVID flashbacks?
A little bit. You hear that there's a cruise ship out in the middle of the ocean.
No, the Hantavirus.
I mean, is anybody else and Donald Trump's in the White House and there's some weird ass virus and there's people on the cruise ship and it needs to dock somewhere and people don't want it to dock anywhere. And they're telling us that it's not a big deal. Anybody else? Is anybody else worried? Just let me know in the comments. Are you worried? I'm not trying to freak anybody out, but this is all I'm going to say. I don't trust this administration at all. I don't. And I trust them less than I did during COVID. Like, at least in COVID, we had some semblance of like infectious disease, like systems in place and mapping, and Trump got rid of all that shit. Remember? Like,
the idiots are definitely in charge. Can you imagine going on this cruise? You're excited to go see the sights.
I was just thinking about taking a cruise. My husband wants to go to Alaska. I'm like, no, now we're done. I was really thinking about it too. I kind of got comfortable after COVID, and now I'm like, no.
And then you get stuck on the Hantavirus cruise from hell. Nobody can get
hell?
off the boat. The Hantavirus, there's 3 people dead.
Is it only 3? I thought it went up. Is it only 3 still? I thought it was up. I think it went up.
3 people, pardon me, had passed away. And then they let, I guess, 12 people off the boat.
Right. Stop letting people off the boat. Like, that is the flashback I get, is don't let it dock. Don't let people off the boat.
We've not learned enough to know that we need to quarantine people. The World Health Organization
already
says,
out.
We understand what Hantavirus is. This is not going to be the next COVID. This is not what we're going to, people are freaking out. This is not the next thing. But you're not the only one. Our friend Noe Marie also texted me today saying, I'm really worried about this Hantavirus thing. And I don't feel like we have the proper people in charge to make sure that this doesn't become the next thing. I don't know. The Hantavirus. And sadly, the Hantavirus has a 50% mortality rate. So that, your chances of making it out are much less than COVID. Yeah.
So at least 7 Americans from the Hantavirus outbreak cruise ship have returned home. And of course, one of the states they returned home to is good old California. All right. Now, this is the Andes strain of the Hantavirus, which conveniently, most of the Hantavirus you have to get from little rats. Remember, we had it. Gene Hackman and his wife died from it. And there was a big outbreak. I think it was the Yosemite. It was in the cabins. It was stuck between the cabin walls. Remember that story
in Curry Village in the
right.
tent camp. Yeah.
But the Andes virus is transmissible between human to human, and it's very rare, except for now. Except for when
you're stuck on a cruise ship.
And that's it. Oh, it's only transmissible between humans when they're stuck in close contact, which I get. But now it is. And I just am like, I can't do another outbreak. Anybody else like me? I'm just not going to, I don't have the mental bandwidth to do it again. Yeah. I just don't.
Were some people that got it in Tahoe too, on a walking trail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it again. I can't. I'm not doing it again. I don't know what that means in my mind, but I can't do it again. I don't want to go through, you know what I don't want to go through? I don't want to go through a pandemic with Donald Trump in the White House again. I want Obama. Can I have a pandemic with an adult in the White House? Like, I don't want to get sick. I don't want strep throat with Donald Trump in the White House. I don't want a cold with Donald Trump in the White House. I don't want anything with Donald Trump in the White House.
Mindy says the measles cruise is next.
Jesus, Lord Almighty. It's so freaking awesome that we have to do this again. I feel like it's deja vu. Seriously? It's up close quarters. It's tiny too. Yeah, exactly. It's probably one of those ones where you paid extra to not be with so many people, and that sucks. That's how it happened. Thank you so much, Karen, for the $20 donation, the super sticker. My friend and I rode bicycles about 15 to 17 miles to high school on the first Earth Day. Look at you.
Nice. Yeah.
Look at you. Good for you, Karen. I just can't. Yeah, there were passengers from California on that cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I have a little bit of a cold. I don't think I have the Hantavirus.
I hope you don't have the Hantavirus. It is respiratory, though.
It is.
Wasn't it the Hantavirus? What was the plague in the Middle Ages? What was that?
That's the plague.
Was that the Hantavirus? I don't know what it was.
I don't think the Hantavirus is the plague. Wasn't that the bubonic? It was the bubonic plague.
Bubonic plague, yeah.
Yeah, it was that. So anyways, keep washing your hands. Start singing happy birthday again. Bring out all the masks. I literally just took a COVID test because we had I had a test to see if the COVID tests that we had were still good.
Do
I
you
didn't have COVID. No, I didn't.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's good.
It was very good. Yeah. So check on me. Another thing, I guess this is good news, but weird, eerie news. And for those of us in the Bay Area, crazy news. The Kristen Smart breaker. Did you guys hear about this?
This is fine. It's, you know what, I saw
I got
this and
chills
thought,
when I saw this headline. I
finally,
literally got
someone
chills.
is doing something. Yes.
So if you don't know the Kristen Smart case, almost 30 years to the day, Memorial Day. So that's in a couple of weeks. 30 years ago. That's what gave me chills. Like, I'm like, because you know me in scary movies, I'm like, she's coming back. So 30 years ago, Kristen Smart basically disappeared. We believe she was murdered, obviously, but her body has never been found. Alleged, we're going to say she was murdered because he's been convicted by a man by the name of Paul Flores. Well, there was all of this investigation. There was a great podcast done. Okay. And they did all of this soil testing at the home of Paul Flores's mom in San Luis Obispo. And they just served a search warrant at Sandy Flores, the mom's home. What, yesterday? And I am telling you, nuts. She was flipping off reporters. Did you see the pictures of her? She was like flipping off people from her front door. Here's my question. And again, we're waiting to see. They think that maybe her Kristen Smart's remains might be there. And I'm going to go dark. Okay.
This is the house where a long time ago, there was a tenant who lived there before she moved in. And the tenant reported hearing like a beep from a watch that would go off at the same time every day until finally it kind of died away. And there was another thing that they kept, they saw as well, or some, thing happened that was weird. And then the tenant moves out and Flores's mom moves in. So nothing's ever found at this house, but people are thinking, the rumor is that they think that she's might be in the backyard, right?
If you were, obviously you are a mom, but if you knew something that your child did and it was done, you had nothing to do with it, but you knew after the fact, and let's even say way after the fact, would you keep your child's secret?
When it comes to murder, and I know that a family,
but maybe you don't know exactly. Maybe you only know.
No.
Maybe they don't tell. Okay, how about this? They don't tell you, but you have your suspicions.
I want to think that I wouldn't. I mean, I love my children, but I would love them no matter what, but it doesn't mean that they shouldn't face consequences for their actions.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I completely agree. Yeah, because it's just one of those things where you look at the mother and you're like, how do you not say something? You know what I mean? This was 30 years ago, guys. 30 years ago, this Memorial Day is when Kristen Smart disappeared. And it's so sad. It was, if you listen to the podcast, I think it's called In Somebody's Backyard or something like that. Really well done podcast, by the way. I want to find the right name of it because it's really worth listening to. There are so many. There's this one instance where she's walking. Oh, Your Own Backyard. That's what it's called. Your Own Backyard. If somebody would have, it's always that situation where it's like, if I would have just walked with her 20 more feet, or I don't know, a short distance, maybe she'd still be alive. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where people are just, maybe she'd still be alive. And you can't beat yourself up over stuff like that, but it's a crazy story. It's sad, it's really, really sad. But literally the hairs, when I found out that it's been 30 years to the day, look at those pictures. And they're saying
taking soil samples out of the yard.
Technology used to test the soil they're talking about is really new. And when they tested it the first time, when this podcast had come out, they were hoping that it would be able to detect things. So maybe that's what they were able to do. And maybe that's why they were able to give this search warrant. Maybe they hit something.
imagine being that renter, knowing the soil was just moved, this planter box was just created, and you hear the beep of a watch.
Oh
That's
my God.
creepy.
Right?
Mm-mm.
That is, I mean, I'm happy though. I'm really happy that, because if you don't have a body,
Mm-hmm.
you can, in my mind, you can't be laid to rest. You know what I mean? Especially like if it was my child,
Mm-hmm.
I would just also need to know, because if I don't have a body, there's always that question. You know what I mean? Like
never knowing. It's the
the
never knowing.
knowing. I need to know. There's always also that hope. Like, well, maybe she's out there. And I don't know what's worse. Like, would you want with that your child somewhere trapped for all this time, or that they're gone? You know what I mean? Like, what's worse? Which I God forbid, I wouldn't want either. But
back to your mom question, like, what if you don't know that if you suspect your kid did something to, Kristen Smart, that they wouldn't do something to harm someone else?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would feel, even though I know that I wouldn't be, I think, because sometimes these things are out of our hands, right? Sometimes it's not how you raised your kid. It can be something else. So I feel like, I mean, that's not always the case, but I'm just, nature versus nurture. I'm just saying, like, there's some really great parents. There's some really great people that have some kids, right?
Absolutely.
It's not always the raising. Sometimes there's something else afoot there. But I think as a mom would feel responsible for putting that out into the world. Someone who was hurting people.
You would definitely look at yourself and be like, what did I do wrong? But then there are parents that I could probably think of a couple parents where I would be like, you'd probably help bury the body. Like I probably know parents would be like, nope, if it was my kid, I'd help bury the body and I would just wash the shovel, like you're just like, okay.
It also depends on like the alleged victim in this case. If it was somebody like an innocent person, then we got a problem. But if it was an abuser, then maybe
then Earl has to die or what? You know what I mean?
Maybe I would be helping with the coffin, the shovel.
I mean, I'm never a proponent of, harming anybody. And I could never. But yeah, it's just one of those things where, and I mention this because I feel like it's not uncommon. It's not far-fetched. It happens every single day. Honestly, where parents are put in a position where they look at their child and their child has done something horrific. It happens every single day.
Well, I see it, at my child's school, where you have a bully or you have someone who, is in complete denial or doesn't hold their child to account.
Believe me, I see it every single day.
Right? I want to know, if my kid has done something wrong, how can I possibly get ahead of it unless I know about it? I would welcome someone to say, hey, your kid did this today, or your kid made my kid feel like this today. Like, let's get ahead of that. Let's figure that out. Let's make sure that I'm raising a kind, lovely person and not someone, a parent that says, oh, not my little Timmy. No.
Right?
Come on.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's Teacher Appreciation Week, so my hat tips to every freaking teacher out there because it is not easy. And exactly, Mindy, right? Like Rob Reiner's son. Now, obviously, he had mental issues, and Rob Reiner and his wife were well aware of them, but nobody expects something like that to happen. I mean, you would always hope that that's a line that your child could never, ever, ever cross.
Yeah.
But again, now that I work closely with children, you see it all the time. I see it all the time where parents are just like, it's like, no, not, like you got to do something about it. There has to be some sort of consequence. And I really do understand now, seeing it from the inside, the argument where sometimes we may have let the pendulum swing too far toward empathy, where there's not enough balance towards, I don't want to use the word punishment, but consequence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like there needs to be more place on appropriate consequence. But what that looks like in the moment and as children grow up, when you're also still dealing with the trauma of too much punishment, it's very difficult, right? Like It's kind of building the plane as it's flying. You're still dealing with trauma from too much abuse while still trying to dole out appropriate consequence. And it's a very tricky thing to do at the exact same time, because there are going to be children that are going to capitalize on the empathy that you want to give children that need it versus children that don't. They're just going to exploit it, you know? So yeah, search warrant. I swear, this poor girl. And again, we have girls that are about to go to college, and I'm trying to give my daughter more and more freedom, and she's about to be a senior and all those sorts of things, and send her off into the world and remember what it was like to be sent off into the world. And it's hard. It's really, really hard, but you got to do it. I just, and speaking of that, just speaking of being responsible teenagers and young adults, how do you get those lessons in their heads so that they actually absorb it? Did you hear this story? Where was it? It was in the Bay Area. It was just in SF Gate today. It was in Rancho Cotati High School, Roner Park.
That's the town up next to me. Yeah. Right.
Did you hear about this? Where they had just given that DUI training to a bunch of high schoolers. And that night, a kid that was given that training was a passenger in a car in a DUI accident and passed away. And again, I don't bring that up to be a depressing thing, but it's this idea of trying to get through to people, right? Like this idea of consequence without teaching life lessons, and that one, it's what is it called? Every 6 seconds or whatever, every 15 minutes. It's that drunk driving. I remember covering it as a reporter, and it's very graphic. They bring crashed cars and they have actors with blood on them and all sorts of things. And it's supposed to be really graphic so that kids understand how devastating it is.
Sometimes they'll bring a car that was actually involved in a DUI wreck, and they dump it right on the front lawn of the high school.
But I don't think that it gets through to kids nowadays. In 2026, kids see crap like that all the time. I don't think they care like that. I don't think it's making an impact as much as it did maybe back in our day. They see all kinds of stuff in the movies and on their phone. They saw freaking, Charlie Kirk get murdered on their phone almost in real time. You think that every 15 minutes is going to make an impact on them? I think that's awful to say, but
you have to do something. I mean, there has to be some kind of lesson. Here's from every 15 minutes. This is from the website, where you can see the kids in the background, and you can see the emergency rescuers trying to pull an actor out of this drunk driving wreckage in front of the school. There's something has to be done that, if you even impact a few students by this, then it's worth it. Every penny.
I do. But again, I think it mainly goes back to consequences. I think it mainly goes back to taking the damn keys away. I think it more goes back to, actually, I think it more goes back to having different options. I like, what I do with my daughter is, she has access to my Lyft account, right? Like if you are in a situation in which you need to get the hell out of there and you need a car, open your phone. Like there's no reason why kids nowadays need to be in any situation in which they don't have a safe ride home. Like you should have access to any sort of, if not just call me, right? Like there's always a parent, but there should always be an ability to get into a car with a safe driver.
Agreed.
In 2026. Versus our days where it was like, hoof it or get in the car.
This is the thing. There's so many stories about teenagers killed in drunk driving accidents, or, just two recently in my vicinity where they were underage people. You have to be of a certain, have been driving for, a year before you have underage passengers in your car, unless they're related to you.
Right.
Where the rules weren't followed and kids died, and, horrible things happen. So those things I think are obvious, and kids can see that and know that. But what we were talking about with Kristen Smart, sending girls off to college, I don't,
there's nothing. Yeah.
I sound like a hysterical mother, like, be careful, watch your drink at the bar, be careful this, be careful that. And, know people, and you have to really watch your back and and it seems like they think they're invincible. And so I worry more about them, both of our girls,
Right.
being attacked in that way, because I think both of them have really good heads on their shoulders. They're not going to get into a car with a drunk driver. They're not going to drink and drive. I believe that. I mean,
I would hope so.
Maybe it's the mom who believes that's the parent who is at the other end of it and saying, oh gosh, I should have tried harder. But I think we've done enough to let them know this is what happens. If this, then that, right? But it's harder to get there when you're talking about this unknown of attackers and creepy crawlers out in the world that are out to get you.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's also this idea of like a false sense of security. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, well, we're doing this, this, and this. And so this should happen. Right. Like, and every situation is different, and the other thing is you can do all these things. Your kid could be the sober one. Your kid could be the one that's driving safe, and then they're hit by the drunk driver. You know what I mean? Like it's life's a crapshoot. So, and it can totally suck. What the sizzle says, there are many of my friends who always offer a ride to the supermarket or the bank, but really I don't get in the car where I feel the driver's unsafe, even if it was a friend. Yeah, exactly. Like you have to make that decision. Sandy says, I just don't understand why parents started acting like kids should never have consequences for bad behavior. Who would possibly think that's a good idea? Well, exactly. You know what I think it is also, and I will say this as a parent who has felt this myself, and I'm just being honest, even though I do obviously give my children consequences and they've been grounded and they've yelled at me and been upset. It's FOMO. Right? Like, oh, I don't want my child to not be able to go to the dance or the party or fill in the blank. I don't want my daughter to feel left out. I don't want my son to feel like he can't participate in X, right? Because they did Y. But you have to.
You have to.
Because they did this, right? And sometimes it surprises me, like, and this has happened more often than not, is when I say no, how little fight I get back sometimes. You know what I mean? Like even tonight, like I told my daughter, like, no, you can't go to your friend's house because she's been getting over a cold and you have to just come home.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said no. And she's taking a nap because you needed it because mom was right.
Exactly.
Mom was right. Because we're just kind of getting over a cold. Like you just need to rest. And there was really no fight because guess what? I was right. Like you just need to rest, right?
Sometimes though, I think when it's a behavioral issue or something it was promised to be done that hasn't been done type of thing,
right?
And you have to offer a consequence. You can't go back on that consequence. Because the minute they see that you're weak, then they think they can get away with everything. So you got to stick to it. And I even told Julia the other day when I had to enforce a consequence, listen, I don't want to do this to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be the mean one. Like, why are you making me do this?
Yeah.
And yet, I had to do it. My husband says I am the mean one.
You're the mean one.
Mr. Grinch.
Hey, it happens. You know what I mean? Like even at my school, like I argue with a specific student all the time because he doesn't like the consequences for a specific action. He does almost every day. And it sucks, but kids don't like consequences, but you have to have it. It is what it is. So
Louise says if the kid is a little a-hole, they shouldn't be going to the dance. What next? Pay them for chores they should be doing anyway? No.
I know. Exactly. Yeah. I know. It's just a different day and age. And it's like, I don't know. It's hard. You're like, we're part of the problem. We're trying to fix the problem. It's just like these kids, they don't know how good they have it.
It's true.
They don't know how good they have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uber's everywhere. Exactly. Agent Kitty. You know what I mean? It's, absolutely. It's crazy. We keep using the same one. It's because they didn't really want that. We knew to let parents say no a few times, then we hit them casually with the prize. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I mean, My parents, I feel like you look back on your childhood and there's specific moments you remember. I feel like I had it good, right? But I also had consequences. It is what it is, you know? If you stick to your guns, you might end up making another. If you don't stick to your guns, you might end up making another Trump. That's for sure.
It's the
right?
last thing we want. No, thank you.
No, thank you. It's I definitely don't want that. Okay, well let's lighten it up a little bit. I have an interesting. It's kind of a lighter story. It's about summer plans, and it's kind of a business story. Okay. Have you heard of? And I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Blue dot fever. Do you know what blue dot fever is, Kim McAllister?
Everybody wants to be a Democrat.
That's good. That's good. No, that's a very good guess. Does anybody know what blue dot fever is? I wish I had more blue dots in my life. I really do. I want more blue dots. And it's interesting because I noticed something like this when I was looking for plans this summer. So, because last week I was buying a lot of tickets. So blue dot fever, you know, when you go to buy tickets on like Ticketmaster, okay, and you're looking for a seat and it's all blue dots or the dots are the seats that are open. Blue dot fever is what artists get when their tickets are not selling. Okay. And so then all of a sudden they are like canceling their shows. So it's been happening a lot lately. Zayn, who was part of One Direction, I guess, Meghan Trainor, Post Malone, the Pussycat Dolls, they've all like either canceled or postponed their concerts lately because they are getting blue dot fever, or they're saying basically, I'm still working on my album or something else is going on, but everyone's like, no, your concerts weren't selling.
Couldn't sell the tickets.
And what was interesting is I did notice this because Zayn, who is part of One Direction, and the Pussycat Dolls were part of this Live Nation thing that was on sale last week, where they were selling $30 tickets at places like Shoreline for like the Lawn. And that's what I bought a few tickets for concerts on Lawn because I don't need to sit in the seats. Like I'm going to go see Santana and I'm going to go see The Roots. But I'm just going to sit on the lawn with James and we're just going to hang out. Like I just want to go listen to some music and not pay out the butt because it's too freaking expensive to buy concert tickets. Now, this is my question. How many of you, I'm going to start with this. How many of you are going to concerts this summer? And what concerts are you going to? You guys let me know because I love summer and like kind of early fall because it's concert season. It's nice weather. You're outside. So I bought 3 tickets, 3 concerts I'm going to. I'm going to go, actually 4. So I'm going to go see The Roots. I'm going to go see Santana with the Doobie Brothers. And then we're going to go to Tahoe to go see Burning Spear, who's a reggae show at Harvey's. And then I got tickets to go see Mumford & Sons. And Mumford & Sons is the most expensive tickets that I bought. Those were not the $30 lawn tickets I actually bought to see that. And so that's it. Like 4 concerts that I'm buying. Oh, and then no, actually 5. We got Dylan tickets to go see Weezer, but that's not until I think December. And that was for his birthday. So we're going to go see Weezer, which I'm really, really excited about. But I want to go see music. Like I need to go see concert tickets. But you know who I'm not going to go see that I want to see? I wanted to go see Noah Kahan at Oracle Park. Those tickets are absolutely ridiculous. I wanted to go see Harry Styles, but he was only playing at Madison Square Garden. I wasn't going all the way to New York, so I'm hoping he comes to the West Coast. That's ridiculous. But concert tickets, it's like you have to sell a kidney. And no wonder these artists are getting blue dot fever. I can't go see you. I'm not going to go pay how much money to go see one artist, let alone 5 different ones, let alone festival tickets, which are like $800 a pop. Give me a freaking break over here. What am I looking at?
There's a casino that is near me. It's the Grayton Rancheria Casino.
Yes.
Okay. And they have a really good talent booker because they have a lot of people coming lately. And in the summer, John Legend is going to be, I don't know when the show is happening, but I was looking at tickets because I keep getting ads because they know that I live nearby or whatever. And the prices range from $250 to $500, even higher than that. There's no way. I mean,
exactly.
I like John Legend, And I like that it's near me, you know, in the next town over, but there's 0% chance of me paying $359 to sit in section 4, row I.
And that's per ticket, or is that for 2 tickets?
That is for 2 tickets.
Each. $359 each.
Oh, each. Yeah. No.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean, if I could pay $350 for 2 tickets, that's still
prices
expensive.
Only
but
go up from there. $600 each. $1,000 each. What?
Yeah, no. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, and I love going to comedy shows. So Jim Gaffigan is coming. I think he's going to the Masonic. His tickets weren't too bad. I love Jim Gaffigan and I love seeing comedy. But still, it's like, I just like to go to, I like to do, those are the things I like to, I want to go see something. So yeah, and Ticketmaster did I think Ticketmaster was getting sued. They're trying to do the whole Live Nation price fixing thing. But until they figure that crap out, I'm still stuck buying stuff from them.
Here's another one. Matt Rife, the comedian.
Oh, yeah.
Coming to the Grayton Resort and Casino.
$1,000.
$1,000 a ticket. And there's only 2 sets of them available. Look at that.
Yeah. And I always call bullshit on that too.
$1,000 a ticket? Really?
Yeah, no.
Negative.
Nope.
Sorry, Matt Rife. No, thank you.
And I do find Matt Rife funny. Or I did. I think he kind of blew up, and then I'm like, I don't know. He's definitely not worth it. And the thing with also some comedians is I can watch your stuff online. So $1,000, no, unless you're giving me gold and diamonds along with my ticket, I do nothing. So I do nothing so at all.
$250 a ticket.
No.
I mean, so you see that I don't even look at concerts. I'm not going.
But that's why I'm saying the $30 lawn tickets, that was perfect for me.
Yeah,
and it was
great.
all fees included. Like it was literally $60 out the door. I'm like that. And because drinks are going to be, and then I got to get out there and I got to do all that crap. So that was perfect. Phineas, I did get the picture of your dog. Look at Phineas's dog right there. Look at that handsome beast. I was waiting until the end of the show to show your handsome pooch. Look at that dog.
That's a cutie.
Look at that dog. And dog's name is Chip, right? That's dog Chip. Yeah. Look at that handsome beast. My dog is getting a bath tomorrow. Look at that dog.
My dog's getting a bath tomorrow too.
Do you take him to a groomer, or do you wash your dog yourself?
We didn't used to, and then a new place opened up in town, and you pay a monthly fee, and you can take them as many times as you want. And so we do that.
That's a pretty good deal.
I did not know that golden retrievers really smell. Because we had our first dog was a Siberian Husky, and she took care of all of it herself. We rarely needed to give that dog a bath.
What do you mean took care of it herself? Like licked herself like a cat?
Yeah, she was very clean. She's just always really clean, and she wasn't stinky. We gave her a bath sometimes, but it wasn't like a weekly bath. Like this dog needs even more frequent baths. She's just smelly. She's smelly.
No, Nugget goes to the groomers once a month, and then like we brush him. But no, he gets a bath so we go bath every 2 or maybe even 3 times, and then he'll get the full groom. We'll shave him down the 3rd or 4th time because I like to keep him fluffy. We like to keep him a little bit fluffy. But yeah, he's a little stinky right now, but he knows. He always looks at me, and he's not the best at the groomer. Every time I pick him up, they're like, I go, as long as, because he doesn't he doesn't really care for the brush. He doesn't really care for the clippers, but I'm like, as long as he's not hurting anybody, we're good to go.
See, yeah, Deidre agrees. A friend of mine had a golden retriever that I never wanted to touch because he smells horrible. Absolutely. It's why I had to pay the place, because that dog needs constant baths.
Yeah. Really. Yeah. Well, I love my dog. I love it, but I'm not going to bathe it. I do everything else for this friggin' dog. I'm going to send it to the groomers. Yeah, water dog smell. That's there you go. All right, well, that is our show, and thank you, Phineas, for sending us your dog picture. We love sharing dog. If you guys want to send us dog pictures, thank you, and thank you to Karen for the $20 donation. You guys, we are 100% crowdfunded, so if you can help support the show and keep us here every single week, please do. All the ways to support the show are in the show notes. We take PayPal. We love PayPal because PayPal does not take a cut. So we love all of our PayPal supporters. But there's also Patreon if you want to be a monthly supporter, or if you want to donate by the super chat or super stickers. They are always up and running, even if our show is no longer live. So you can find those as well. But we love our supporters, and we love all of our Madorables. And a thumbs up is also a great way to support the show. But also tell your friends to join us live every Thursday, 5 o'clock Pacific, right here on YouTube. So we will be back next Thursday, 5 o'clock. We love you, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.